Thank you, Deputy Presiding Officer. I know that none of us want to be having this debate. I've participated in nearly every COVID-related debate since March, but nothing has irked me more throughout this pandemic than knowing that the voices of those most affected by the restrictions that we pass have not always been heard or listened to. Like those in my region given just 2 days' notice to shut shop for 2 weeks, which was extended by another, and which they now learn today could be indefinitely. And my vote to grant this government emergency powers did not grant consent to learn about new or extended restrictions via media speculation, press briefings, leaked documents, or on social media, no least during recess, because that is the job of this Parliament. Now, I don't disagree with the essence of this new framework, because I believe that ministers are working earnestly to tackle this awful virus, and I thank them for that. But people rightly expect transparency over the rationale and the thinking behind these decisions because of the impact that these decisions have on their lives. This new tiered approach, if it is implemented and communicated properly, will recognise the diversity of our demographics, of population densities, and crucially the differing rates of virus transmission. But the real test of this framework will not be whether this framework commands the support of the Parliament, but if it commands the support and the confidence of the public. Because cafes, shops and B&Bs in our regions and constituencies want to do the right thing to tackle this virus. But they also want to make a living. They want to be part of thriving communities and offer job opportunities to our young people. And goodness knows we need all of those right now. But they must be confident that when the government limits their ability to earn revenue, to grow, and even just to stay open, that these decisions are not taken lightly, that they will be consulted with, they will be supported. These are reasonable demands. People on Arran are asking me why their lives will be restricted if virus levels in Ardrossan will rise. And I have no justifiable answer to that question. Does the government? Because if controlling human interaction is the primary tactic of suppressing the virus, that inevitably suppresses the economy too. And I think people deserve 3 simple things of us in return. 1, clarity of messaging over the tiers, the rules and the restrictions. Secondly, clarity over what support is available to them and how easily it can be accessed. And third, clarity over what measurements the government will use to trigger the raising or lowering of those restrictions and how they move from one tier to another. Because uncertainty and confusion are no one's friend in a pandemic. Changes to guidance are welcome when they're sensible ones, such as today issued over early years and childcare, or the commitment to keep schools open. And I hope that is a positive sign of the government's willingness to listen, because listen it must, because households have not been able to mix indoors for over a month already, some for longer. The majority of people who were asked to work from home are doing so, and most small businesses, including hospitality, have complied with social distancing since July. People are perfectly justified in asking us what is working and what is not, as difficult or uncomfortable as it is to answer those questions. The need for action is undeniable. Yesterday, 82 people are in ICU with COVID, up from 6 in early September. But we all must know and understand what is driving this data. How many of these patients were admitted for a care home setting, for example? How many were already in hospital and contracted the virus whilst there? And what does Test and Protect tell us about the source of these cases? More importantly, how does the answer to those questions justify the restrictions in other areas of life? The problem is we cannot confidently and fluently answer those questions on a daily or a weekly basis, then the job that we have of taking the public with us is made all the more difficult. Presiding Officer, by this Christmas, many thousands of vulnerable people will have been shielding themselves from society for nearly 9 months, almost entirely. We all know somebody in this boat. Glasgow University's Professor O'Connor said that the effects of lockdown would be long-lasting. That is an understatement. It's already having an effect. And I can best sum it up by a conversation I had recently with an elderly constituent who, quite blankly and rather bleakly, said to me that she'd rather die of COVID if it meant she could spend a few precious days with her grandchildren this Christmas than spend the next year alone without them. How very sad is that? And how eye-opening is that? Because Christmas offers an opportunity for so many to escape chronic loneliness. And that is true whether you're a pensioner or a pupil. I argue today that it is our duty to leave absolutely no stone unturned in finding a solution to that conundrum. First, by testing through whatever means and whatever scale is necessary. Second, by offering clear guidance to people before, during and after the festive period, students or otherwise. And third, by treating people responsibly and with responsibility. Because we must know that the state cannot account for every situation in every family or manage every moment of every person's life. The public need reassurance that this new roadmap versus any other incarnation of it will actually work. Because almost 80,000 women in Scotland missed breast cancer screenings this year. And there could already be hundreds of undiagnosed cases, according to leading charities. Youth unemployment in Scotland now sits at 14.5%, more than double what it was in February of this year alone. People are scared out there. People are worried. And people are tired. And I think they need hope. We cannot tackle one health emergency by creating many others, either knowingly or even unwittingly. And this is my biggest fear in all of this. Because if we are truly in this for the long haul, then we must be honest with people. We must be honest that we cannot and we will not save every job, every life, or fix every problem. But we can and we will listen. And sometimes that is all people ask of their politicians. Today has been a good start. Let's keep it up.